What's up, Dirty Bird fans? Welcome into the show today. Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Moustakis, your host for the 2025 season. And coming up on today's episode, my final and first Atlanta Falcons 2025 record prediction. I just realized I never gave you my full prediction for the Dirty Birds. So what do I have them going in 2025? So we're going to go through this game by game. That's how this is going to go. I'm going to give you each matchup a little mini, tiny little preview, and I'll tell you who I think wins and who I think loses. Let's start, of course, with the game coming up this Sunday, the Week 1 matchup, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dirty Birds. Believe it or not, I have the Falcons coming away with a W Week 1, 27-24. Now, one of the main questions that we've had on this channel is how fast are the Atlanta Falcons going to start, considering Raheem Morris did not play any of his starters during the preseason. I do believe that in the atmosphere in Atlanta, in a divisional game, Week 1 of the Michael Penix Jr. era, officially, the Falcons are going to be riding high. I think there's going to be a very close game. It's going to be back and forth, but I believe the Falcons squeak out a win Week 1 to start 1-0. Let's go to Week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this one, I went back and forth on this because J.J. McCarthy has not played a single game. So offensively speaking, it's a total mystery of what the Vikings are going to be right now. However, I do think that Brian Flores is probably, if not top 3 of the defensive coordinators in the NFL right now. He is the ultimate blitz calling, playmaking defensive coordinator. So I do have the Falcons losing this one 23-16. I just don't know how this is going to work with Caleb McGarry out for the entirety of the season and with how good Brian Flores is at scheming blitzes. He blitzes the most out of any defensive coordinator in the NFL. So I do think the Falcons fall to go down to 1-1. Week 3 looks like this against the Carolina Panthers. It's another road matchup. I think the Panthers suck. I don't see them getting any better this year. They traded away Adam Thielen. So, of course, I say the Falcons win this one, 28-17. So the Falcons start off 2-1. I think this is a really easy game for Michael Penix to really showcase his ability and go up against a very, very poor Carolina Panthers secondary, which was like dead last year in opponents' points per game. Then things get back a little bit more tough, and now you're going to start noticing the next couple of games get really hard for the Dirty Birds. Week 4 against the Washington Commanders. Jayden Daniels came out and proved everybody wrong. I couldn't believe what I saw from him last year. So unfortunately, I say the Falcons lose this one 31-20. So they start off 2-2, and Washington got better after an unreal rookie season from Jayden Daniels. Traded for Deebo Samuel. They've beefed up their defense. Their offensive line is still, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's probably middle of the pack. I just think that they're too good right now to get beat. I have this team going really, really far in the 2025 season. So 2-2 right now for the Dirty Birds. That's what I've got in their first 4 games. Do you agree or do you disagree? If you're watching this during our live show, get down in the live chat and let me know. But if you're watching in our regular recording, make sure you get down in the comment section. Like I told you, it gets really tough because the next week, after the bye week in Week 5, your Week 6 matchup is against the Buffalo Bills. Granted, it's at home. However, Buffalo is one of the most loaded teams in the entirety of the NFL. So I do have the Falcons losing 34-21. So now they're 2-3. I'm sure you're looking at this going, who the hell is this guy talking about us being 2-3? Relax. It gets better, but not right away. Because Week 7 going up against the San Francisco 49ers, I think this is one of those games that they squeak out a loss. This is going to be really, really close. In fact, I could see the Falcons leading this entire game. Unfortunately, with the play calling of Kyle Shanahan and maybe a fumble here or an interception here or a late field goal here, I think San Francisco squeaks out a win. So I think now the Falcons are 2-4. And you're probably looking at this going, who the hell is this guy? Why is he talking so much shit? Well, it starts to get better. Why? Because Week 8, then you can start to run the gauntlet. This next, Week 8 through, Week 14 is so favorable for the Dirty Birds. Week 8 against the Dolphins. W. There it is. putting it up on the board for you. Falcons beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins secondary might be the worst in the NFL. Like, no joke. It is awful. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey. Their number one is a guy named Storm Duck. Yes, actual name, real cornerback. Look him up. This feels like an easy win at home for the Falcons. Then they go up against the New England Patriots. Another young quarterback on young quarterback battle here. Michael Penix Jr. versus Drake May. I do think the Falcons win this one very, very close. The Patriots have definitely beefed up their team. Got a brand new head coach in Mike Vrabel, but I do believe this is the opposite of the San Francisco game. I think this is one where a nice favorable bounce or a favorable play goes for the Falcons. MPJ versus Drake May, and I think MPJ's a better quarterback. I think he's a better pure passer. So Falcons win this one close to improve now to 4-4 on the season. Now we're at the halfway point, 500. Do you think the Falcons will be better than 500 at the halfway point? 8 games in 9 weeks. Let me know in the comment section down below. I think you're right at 500. Now coming up, I got the second half of the season, and like I told you, very favorable stuff for the Dirty Birds coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But before we do that, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is our friends over at PrizePicks. Listen, football is back. I don't know if you watched any of those college football games over the weekend. I sure did. But let me tell you this. I can't wait for the rest of college football and pro football. And that's where PrizePicks comes in. It's the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Very simple to play. Just pick 2 to 6 players and their stat projections, and then pick the more or the less. I was a glutton all week, and I went more. I lost big, but that doesn't mean that you have to also. So go to your app store, click the download button, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, run your game. Week 10, the Colts. Come on, easy dub. Falcons win 29-16. I might be alone in this sentiment, and maybe you feel the same way, Falcons fans. I think the Colts are one of the worst teams in the entire NFL. Their starting quarterback is Indiana Jones, a.k.a. Daniel Jones, a.k.a. New York Giants failure Daniel Jones. I think the Falcons win this one easy. In fact, I think this is a dominant win for the Dirty Birds to start getting some momentum as you build your way on through the season. And then, of course, Week 11, you're back with Carolina. Clean sweep, get the brooms out. Falcons win at home. Come on. You didn't think that I was actually going to think the Panthers could beat the Falcons. Let's be real. 26-21. And I know what everybody's thinking. Oh, Bryce Young played a little bit better last year after he got benched for Andy Dalton. Bryce Young sucks. I'm sorry. 5 foot. He's the same height as me, and he moves about as fast as I do. So, sorry, Bryce Young fans. I don't see them getting any better this year. Falcons win clean sweep. Let's go to Week 12 against the New Orleans Saints. Yes, I know our little producer, or not producer, our other Saints host. There he is looking at me right here. Mr. Trizzy Trace Gerard. At home, Falcons win 23-14. You mean to tell me that Spencer Rattler is going to come into Mercedes-Benz and beat you? And maybe at that point, it's Tyler Shuck. Who knows? Who cares? Aints lose, Falcons win. That's a dub. We're climbing the dubs. We're stacking them up, baby. Because next week, you play the Jets in New York. Justin Fields, a.k.a. One Reed Justin. Nah, it's not going to happen. Falcons win this one, too. There's some nice momentum brewing here in ATL as you get to Week 13. Falcons have a very workable schedule in the second half of the season. I feel like this middle part might be the easiest in the NFL and a great way to showcase your ability and get more players, more confidence, and more reps as the weeks go along. Unfortunately, it gets a little bit more difficult as time goes on. Week 14, at home against the other birds, the Seattle Seahawks. I also think this one is very, very close. I think the Seattle Seahawks win this one against Atlanta. I think it's close. Last year, Sam Darnold, for the Vikings, had his best season. I don't think he'll be nearly as good as he was last year. I do think, though, that he's back to that kind of like right in the middle, 15th or 16th best quarterback in the NFL. So toss up for me here. I go Falcons lose at home 23-20. Then week 15 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have them splitting with the Bucs. I think the Bucs are a very talented team, especially on offense, so I can't have the Falcons sweeping them. I go a loss in Tampa Bay. Falcons lose 28-21. Then you go back to the desert against the Arizona Cardinals, and I have the Falcons winning this one. I think Kyler Murray at this point in the season is done with the Cardinals. I think this is his last year as the Cardinals quarterback. I think they're done with him and his work ethic. If he doesn't produce this year, he's going to be gone. I think there's a trade that happens at least maybe halfway through the season or in the offseason. I don't see Kyler Murray being the franchise quarterback for the Desert Birds out there in Arizona. So I do have the Falcons winning that one against the Arizona Cardinals. Week 17, our final two matchups against the Rams. Rams are a more talented team. I'm sorry to say it. They're just better. I think the Falcons lose, although I do think they keep it somewhat close. And then to round out the season against the Aints in New Orleans, Falcons win 35-19. Stop it. Falcons sweep. Clean sweep, baby. Let's go. So altogether, I'm sure you're wondering, what is that final record? 10-7. I have the Falcons going 10-7 this year. I think with Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, and Drake London, and a breakout season for Kyle Pitts, I think this offense can do a lot of damage. It's going to be a bend but don't break mentality on defense, and if they can do that, 10 wins is absolutely achievable. So let me know. Get down in the comments section, O for over or U for under. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. If you agree with everything that I'm saying right now, let me know. And if you disagree, at least let me know down there as well so we can kind of go back and forth and talk a little bit about why you think I am wrong. Until next time, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool.